Hello and welcome to Intuitive Journey with Desiree. I am Desiree Holmes Scherini, your host. And today I'm going to talk about tarot and oracle cards and how I use them with clients sometimes, and also how you could use them on your own. So there are, of course, we're all familiar with the well, maybe we're not all, but if you're not, you will be a little more by the end of this. Here's an example of a tarot deck, the traditional tarot deck, and I'm not really going to go into explaining tarot. I'm just going to go into more of a life coach use of tarot. Okay, and that happens to be the Rider-Waite tarot, which is a pretty traditional deck. You can tell I've had the box for a while. And so there are many types of tarot cards out there. I have several different tarot decks. Another kind of tarot deck that is like, I think I've mentioned it before, maybe in one of my past broadcasts or podcasts, YouTubes, is Radley Valentine has created several decks of oracle and tarot cards that are a little friendlier and kinder. Here's the guidebook there. Archangel Power tarot cards are one of the decks, and that's the one I happen to have out here right now. And they are lovely. And his cards are kind of nice because they're great for someone who's not really familiar with the cards and in reading them, and they have notes at the bottom as well as in the book for further description. So if you're looking at kind of checking it out for yourself and just deciding, I recommend Radley Valentine's range of cards for you. I'm also a certified angel tarot reader, so I'm proud to say that, as well as I've certainly studied the traditional tarot and reading those as well through my Psychic Academy work. Anyway, so today what I want to talk about, and I have these two decks out here in particular, is how you can use these and how I can use these with a client in a more intuitive way, as opposed to doing a spread. A spread means like certain ways you lay out the cards to do reading that might be particular to, say, career or love, or there's different kinds of numbers of cards, ways you can lay the cards out. And like I said, this is not a tarot lesson necessarily, but a different way to choose to use oracle cards, tarot cards. And let me just throw in here, oracle cards are a little different. They're not tarot. They may have pictures and messages and the such, and they can range from any number of cards, whereas a tarot deck has a certain number of cards and certain cards that have certain, not meanings always necessarily, depending on how the author of the deck is choosing to frame it. Like I said, Radley will give the more positive spin on things. Some other decks are a little darker. However, the card usually means the same thing. It depends on in the reading and for the circumstances, how you read it. But I digress. So another way to use these, rather than doing a spread or talking about the past, the present, the future, that sort of thing, is to use them as an intuitive tool. And most of these cards have certain images and so much going on. So I'm going to show you, and you podcasters, you might want to hop over to my YouTube channel by the Desiree Holmes Scherini, and I have a playlist, Intuitive Journey with Desiree, where you're going to find the video of this same content, okay? Because I'm going to be doing some visuals here that just aren't going to show through. However, if you happen, you can Google and pull up these cards and look at them while you're listening or afterward to maybe get it, but just go visit my YouTube channel and don't forget to subscribe. So here, for example, is the card, the Chariot, from the traditional Rider-Waite tarot. And it's got these great images, right? There's all sorts of stuff going on in there. There's, and I'm not going to mention it right now, actually. I'm going to do this little test. So So say I have the client shuffle and choose a card, or I may shuffle and choose a card for the client, okay? And they may have a question. They may just want some general guidance. It may just be a card for the day. And intuitively, what we can do with these cards is, instead of saying, oh, it's the Chariot and that means whatever progress, or this is coming, or whatever, okay, instead of saying that, we can use it as sort of a Rorschach block print, that there are images, but the images mean something particular to us. Okay. And so I could look at this and find something there, and I'm like, oh, this is what that means. Someone else might look at the same card and it will have a different meaning for them. So we can use it as a vehicle to access our intuition and access our subconscious answers that we all have. So for example, now, as you look at this card, the Chariot, which I think you can see pretty clearly, right? What jumps out at you? What's the first thing you notice? What sort of feeling do you get while you look at this card? Does it remind you of a circumstance, a person, a place? What comes up? And I won't spend a lot of time with this, but you get the idea, right? And where your eyes go can certainly give you an idea of something. And whatever you notice first, then ask yourself, what is it about that drew me? What is going on in my life right now that this might have some correlation or information for me? How can I reflect on this? So one of the things you can do is, when you see it, if you don't get an aha right away, if it doesn't mean anything right away, you could, and I might have my client, to journal, to write down all of the things that image means to them, all of the things that the color might mean to them. And certain cards have certain color combinations and ways we feel about those colors. As I look at this, I'm noticing for myself, I'm noticing those wings and the red vial-like thing underneath there. And it just reminds me of a doctor's, you know, the image, the red thing. I don't know what that, actually, it might be a, what's that spinning thing that kids might play with at Hanukkah? Anyway, so I see the wings and I see that, but to me, the first thing I thought of was doctors and that sort of thing. And of course, it being COVID, I guess maybe still in my subconscious, I've got that kind of playing back here. That's just my immediate response for myself. Then I go on to the belt and the apron on him. I noticed that. And it makes me think of the Freemasons. I could get myself in real deep here if I just keep going, right? Okay, I'm just going to say it. Then I noticed that these two animals, one's white, one's black, and I think of all the stuff that's been going on recently in the U.S., especially last year with race issues. Interesting. I'm going to have to reflect on that. So this might just be things that are in my environment that are, you know, because they're out there, they're in my subconscious, and maybe they're affecting the way that I'm acting, feeling, thinking. And maybe that's some, you know, stressors to let go of. That's my little self-analysis there. So you might see how that might work. I'm going to pull up the Archangel Power Tarot cards and just pull one out. And we'll kind of do the same thing, just to give you a taste of how we can use this. So that was just pulling one card, right? So let's just pull one card off the top of this and see what we get. And here he has assigned archangels to the different cards. And we have the 9 of Michael. And each of these cards does have a correlation in the regular tarot as well. And then at the bottom, he has a message. And it's backward for you, I think. Your worry is unnecessary. Focus your thoughts on the outcome you desire. Release feelings of regret, guilt, or worry to your angels. And of course, there's this glorious image on there by the artist. And once again, you could start looking at this and just let your eyes wander around and see what you see. Notice what you notice and feel what you feel. And ask yourself why your attention went to a particular image, how that reflects something in your life right now, how you feel, what you think. And if you've gained some insight into maybe what's going on in your subconscious or in the world around you that may be affecting you in ways you did not realize. So this is one way. And also using these intuitively like this is a really awesome way to get to know the art, to really appreciate the beautiful artistry that goes into these cards. And, sometimes you might even want to get a magnifying glass or something. My eyes went to, and the reason I say that is because my eyes went back to this thing that kind of looks like a stingray, but it kind of looks like an angel. And I'm like, what is that? And why did my eyes go there? And then if I find what it is, kind of looks like Mothman. But if I zoom in and I look at what it is, and it has a particular, if it's a particular image, I could even look that up. I could look it up. And maybe, intuition is one thing, inner intuition. And sometimes we do get messages from sources outside of ourselves that are letting us know some information. And if you know me here on my show, then I'm very open to being open to what messages are coming in. And tarot is definitely one vehicle for doing that. Now, of course, another way could be to draw one card and say, let's draw just any card. And again, not reading it by the card, but intuitively, by reflecting on the images and how it feels and what the picture reminds you of and what's going on with you in particular. So if I draw this, say, Knight of Gabriel as the past for someone, right? And someone could look at that and, even ignoring the message, which ties more to the meaning of Knight of Gabriel, looking at the image, the past, and what would that represent to somebody? Then we can say, okay, the next card might represent the current time. And I just pulled out this Justice card. And it's just as an example. And again, the person can say, how does that past card tie into what's happening now? And what in this image, not necessarily the Justice card, but what in this image reflects their current reality? And once again, if they want to go into what sort of things do they need to be aware of in the future? Not what's going to happen, but what should they be aware of in the future? What messages do they need to be paying attention to as they go forward? And I pull up the Two of Michael, which is a beautiful card. And again, looking at the image, not necessarily the card itself. They can use the image as that vehicle for what they should be focusing on in the future. And of course I could look at this and I just see this beautiful energy around these two beautiful horses that are coming together. And I could translate for myself, focus on unity, focus on connection, focus on positive energy and the beauty of nature. Okay, that's a nice answer, right? So that being said, the same sort of reading can be done using the cards as a reader and working with my client. I could do the same sort of reading with a past, present, and future, and using it to acknowledge the particular card and the reading and use it that way. So the past, we have this going on, your present, there's such and such, and going in that way. But I wanted to talk to you today about using them intuitively because you know me, I love intuition. I love helping people find their own intuition and get inside and really think for yourself and process things, because you could come to a life coach and we can help you. But so many people go to a hypnotherapist or life coach or psychologist or tarot reader in order for them to tell them the answers. But I would argue that your answers are within yourself. And when I'm working as a hypnotherapist and life coach, that's my focus, is helping someone uncover their own answers, because I could tell you what my answer for you is, but really your answer for yourself, your best answer is within. And the more that you can get in touch with yourself, the closer you can get to personal freedom and joy and happiness and all those good things, okay? And using the oracle cards and tarot cards as a vehicle for that, as a vehicle for insight, self-reflection, and finding out what that pulls out of your subconscious mind, is just a great way of doing it. You can do it with someone who can help you along the process, or you can do it on your own. And I just want to say, if you don't have one of these, there's so many beautiful decks out there, and I think Hay House is having a $10 deck sale still right now, and I think it might be free shipping. I don't even work for them. I'm just saying that they're a great source for beautiful cards. And I will throw in here, sometimes people have a fear of tarot or oracle cards based on some teaching that they got. Look, cards are cards. They're pieces of paper. And whatever you do with them is up to you. And anything can have a negative, what's the right word with it? You can put a negative light on something or a positive light on something. And the way I like to use these is with a positive light. I like to use these toward the benefit of others. I don't pull out cards and predict death and dire. I use these cards primarily to give guidance, to open someone's mind to possibilities and their own insights and what may come for them to be more aware of. Okay, so just a little caveat there. A beautiful crystal can carry positive intention, or it can carry something else. It depends on who's holding it, who's using it. Same thing goes for magic. There's magic of prayer, of positive prayer, and then there's magic of evil intention. And the energy can be the same energy used in different ways. So that's a whole nother show. Thanks for that idea. Okay, so just to say, cards are not something to be afraid of. They can be a beautiful tool for you to examine your inner world and enjoy. Find something new out about yourself. Thanks for being here and have a fantastic day. I'll see you next time. Bye.